Introduction. Do you know that all living organisms need food?
Objectives. At the end, understand the irrigation process, find out cropping patterns, understand the crop protection management, study the methods for storage of grains, improvement in crop yields. We all know that cereals such as wheat, rice, maize, millets, and sorghum provide us carbohydrate for energy requirement. Similarly, pulses like gram, chana, pea, matar, black gram, urad, green gram, moong, pigeon pea, arhar, lentil, masoor provide us with protein. While some oilseeds like soybean, groundnut, sesame, castor, mustard, linseed, and sunflower provide us with necessary fats. Likewise, fruits, vegetables, and spices provide a range of vitamins and minerals in addition to small amounts of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. For animals, some fodder crops like berseem, oats, or Sudan grass are raised as food. Crop variety improvement. Crop nutrient management. Plants require nutrients for growth and development. There are 16 nutrients which are essential for plants. Nutrients are supplied to plants by air, water, and soil. Air supplies carbon and oxygen, hydrogen comes from water, and soil supplies the other 13 nutrients to plants. Amongst these 13 nutrients, 6 are required in large quantities and are therefore called macronutrients. The other 7 nutrients are used by plants in small quantities and are therefore called micronutrients. Deficiency of these nutrients affect
physiological
processes in plants, including reproduction, growth, and susceptibility to diseases. To increase the yield, the soil can be enriched by supplying these nutrients in the form of manure and fertilizers. Manure. Manure contains large quantities of organic matter and also supplies small quantities of nutrients to the soil. Manure is prepared by the decomposition of animal excreta and plant waste. Manure helps in enriching soil with nutrients and organic matter and increasing soil fertility and the soil structure. Manure increases the water-holding capacity in sandy soils. In clay soils, the large quantities of manure allow drainage and avoid waterlogging problems. In using manure, we use biological waste material, which is advantageous in protecting our environment from excessive use of fertilizers. Using biological waste material is also a way of recycling farm waste. Based on the kind of biological material used, manure can be classified as compost, vermicompost, and green manure. Compost. The compost is rich in organic matter and nutrients. It is prepared from waste materials of farm like cow dung, domestic waste, sewage waste, straw, eradicated weeds, etc., which is decomposed in a pit. Vermicompost. Compost prepared by using earthworms to hasten the process of decomposition of plant and animal refuse is called vermicompost. Green manure. Before sowing the crop seeds, some plants like sun hemp or guar are grown and then mulched by plowing them into the soil. These green plants thus turn into green manure, which help in enriching the soil in nitrogen and phosphorus. Fertilizers. Fertilizers are commercially produced plant nutrients. They supply nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. They are used to ensure good vegetative growth, leaves, branches, and flowers, giving rise to healthy plants. Fertilizers are a factor in the higher yields of high-cost farming. Fertilizers should be applied carefully in terms of proper dose, time, and observing pre- and post-application precautions for their complete utilization. Due to excessive irrigation, fertilizers get washed away and are not fully absorbed by the plants. This excessive fertilizer then leads to water pollution. Continuous use of fertilizers in an area can destroy soil fertility because the organic matter in the soil is not replenished and microorganisms in the soil are harmed by the fertilizers used. Short-term benefits of using fertilizers and long-term benefits of using manure for maintaining soil fertility have to be considered while aiming for optimum yields in crop production. Organic farming. Organic farming is a farming system with minimal or no use of chemicals as fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, etc., and with a maximum input of organic manures, recycled farm wastes, straw and livestock excreta, use of bioagents such as culture of blue-green algae in preparation of biofertilizers, neem leaves or turmeric specifically in grain storage as biopesticides with healthy cropping systems. These cropping systems are beneficial in insect, pest, and weed control besides providing nutrients. Irrigation. The technique of providing water to crops in the fields by means of canals, reservoirs, wells, and tube wells, etc., is called irrigation. Irrigation is important for the following reasons: supply of essential elements, germination of seeds, growth, absorption of nutrients. The design, equipment, and technique of replenishing the soil water deficit by applying irrigation water is known as irrigation system. There are 4 types of irrigation systems. Wells are made to exploit groundwater. They are of 2 types, that is, dug wells and tube wells. In dug wells, water accumulates due to available groundwater table. Canals are connected to reservoirs or rivers to supply water. Canal is divided into sub-canals and distributaries. River lift systems. In areas where canal flow is insufficient or irregular due to inadequate reservoir release, the lift system is more rational. Water is directly drawn from the rivers for supplementing irrigation in areas close to rivers. Tanks are small storage reservoirs which intercept and store the runoff of smaller catchment areas. Assessment. Before proceeding further, let us know how much you have learned. Match the following. Cropping patterns. Different ways of growing crops can be used to give maximum benefit. There are 3 main methods of cropping patterns: mixed cropping, intercropping, crop rotation. Mixed cropping is growing 2 or more crops simultaneously on the same piece of land. Example, wheat and gram, or wheat and mustard, or groundnut and sunflower. This reduces risk and gives some insurance against failure of one of the crops. Intercropping is growing 2 or more crops simultaneously on the same field in a definite pattern. The crops are selected on the basis of different need of nutrients. A few rows of one crop alternate with a few rows of a second crop. Example, soybean plus maize, or finger millet bajra plus cowpea lobia. Due to this, there is maximum utilization of the nutrients supplied. Intercropping also prevents pests and diseases from spreading to all the plants belonging to one crop in a field. This way, both crops can give better returns. Crop rotation is the growing of different crops on a piece of land in a pre-planned succession. Depending upon the duration, crop rotation is done for different crop combinations. The availability of moisture and irrigation facilities decide the choice of the crop to be cultivated after one harvest. If crop rotation is done properly, then 2 or 3 crops can be grown in a year with good harvests. Crop protection management. When we look around the field, we find that crops are infested by a large number of weeds, insect pests, and diseases. If weeds and pests are not controlled at the appropriate time, then they can damage the crops so much that most of the crop is lost. Weeds are unwanted plants in the cultivated field and compete for food, space, and light. Example: Xanthium, Gokru; Parthenium, Gajar Ghas; Cyprinus rotundus, Motha. Weeds take up nutrients and reduce the growth of the crop. Therefore, removal of weeds from cultivated fields during the early stages of crop growth is essential for a good harvest. Generally, insects and pests attack the plants in 3 ways. They cut the root, stem, and leaf. They suck the cell sap from various parts of the plant, or they bore into stem and fruit. They thus affect the health of the crop and reduce yields. Diseases in plants are caused by pathogens such as bacteria, fungi, and viruses which can be present in and transmitted through the soil, water, and air. Weeds, insects, and diseases can be controlled by various methods. One of the most common methods is the use of pesticides, which include herbicides, insecticides, and fungicides, and are sprayed on crop plants or used for treating seeds and soil. As we all know that excessive use of these chemicals creates problem, since they can be poisonous to many plant and animal species and cause environmental pollution. Weed control methods also include mechanical removal. You should also know that weed control can also be done by proper seed bed preparation, timely sowing of crops, intercropping, and crop rotation, or using resistant varieties or deep plowing during summer. Storage of grains. In agriculture products, storage losses can be very high. Factors responsible for such losses are biotic insects, rodents, fungi, mites, and bacteria, and abiotic inappropriate moisture and temperatures in the place of storage. You know, these factors cause degradation in quality, loss in weight, poor germinability, discoloration of produce, all leading to poor marketability. I should tell you that these factors can be controlled by proper treatment and by systematic management of warehouses. Preventive and control measures are used before grains are stored for future use. They include strict cleaning of the produce before storage, proper drying of the produce first in sunlight and then in shade, and fumigation using chemicals that can kill pests. Did you know the Agriculture Ministry's research summary? Let us summarize what we have learned. Mixed cropping is growing of 2 or more crops simultaneously on the same piece of land. Growing 2